Basically, I wanted money for an iPhone off my mum, and she gave my brothers all a lot of money because she's got a pension now, so she's got a lot of money. And I literally asked for £600, and I said I'll give it back to her this Thursday and the rest on Tuesday with extra money on top. And it just got into a big argument, and I told her I'm going to kill her, and I said, if I stay in this house, I'm going to smother you in your sleep, and I'm stronger than you, so I'll win. And she smacked me in my face, and I grabbed her face, and I was like, don't ever touch me again, because I love you, but I will hurt you. And then she called the police, and the ambulance came, and then I had to come here.
This is the world's oldest psychiatric institution. It used to be known as Bedlam, a place we hid those we called mad.
You need some medication.
Now known as the South London and Maudsley.
Andrew, I need to speak to you.
It treats 50,000 patients a year.
Any sign that you shit yourself?
I don't think so.
And numbers are rising. The staff and patients open their doors
Sit down.
to show us what Bedlam is like today.
Well, Hammy doesn't need to be here, does he?
Her responsibility to look after them.
This is a place most of us will hopefully never set foot in.
When she is downstairs in the ambulance, could you just give us a ring, just so we'll come down with sheets, or well, a couple of sheets to cover up with, yeah?
An A&E ward for mentally ill patients in crisis.
I'm 50 years old! This is my wife!
56-year-old Emmanuel pulled a rail off the wall of a 99p shop and started to hit staff with it. 20-year-old Gemma regularly threatens to jump off London Bridge. She was admitted after taking an overdose.
You've got to understand, I'm scared.
Yeah, completely understand.
I'm scared.
Most of these people have reached a point where they've become so ill they're considered a danger to themselves or to others.
I just want to do herbal medicines.
Come in.
So this is your room?
Come. This is the sleeping area.
Katrina is studying for a degree at one of the UK's leading drama schools. At 22, this is her third admission to hospital. She has schizoaffective disorder, characterised by mood swings and delusions.
So that's my bear in bed. I don't want to bring too much. The last time I came into hospital, I practically moved in. So I've decided just a few outfits, some underwear, my handbag, food. Do you want a Jaffa cake or some cheesy things?
I'm all right, thanks.
I'll have a Jaffa cake then. There you go, baby. Love you.
What do you think of your room?
I love it. You get so much support and help from family, friends and the nurses and the doctors. You've got this big open space to yourself if you want to lock yourself away. It's just like having your own little apartment. Like, what are they called? Studio flats. That's what it's like.
The Trust pioneered the use of short-stay wards like this one, known as Triage. Katrina and patients like her are assessed and either go on to a longer stay ward or back home to be looked after in the community.
Risk to self, put electric cord around his neck, self-neglect, poor self-care. So
With beds at a premium, Triage is like a sorting office, determining who really needs to stay in hospital. But the decisions carry risks.
Here, there is a particularly high level of decision-making. You know, we've got 18 beds, there's a fast turnover. We might be making 50, 100 important decisions a week, and they affect people's liberty, they affect people's safety, they affect public safety. Nobody wants somebody to leave the ward and to take their own life. Nobody wants anybody to leave the ward and take somebody else's life.
What we do? What we do? Get all right.
I'm just checking everyone.
51-year-old Rupert has spent much of his adult life on psychiatric wards.
You find anything funny? You find something funny?
What's wrong, Rupert?
What's wrong? Make I tell you something. Yeah. Come to my house. I ain't up here.
Rupert?
Yeah.
with you about the people that come onto triage and the people that treat people in triage.
Go by the way.
He came here from Jamaica as a young boy, but struggled to settle.
Should we go out or stay in? I think I'll probably stay in.
By the age of 17, he was diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder. Rupert came onto the ward voluntarily after an argument with a neighbour. But he can't leave until the doctors say so.
So we're here to listen to your side of events and what's been happening for you. Can you just say a bit about why you've come into hospital and how you've been feeling in recent
I was
days?
forced to come in. Girl does this. He got baby with a black person, right? And she's insulting me by telling me that I'm Jamaican, that's rough. What does it mean by that?
Okay.
What plans did you, sir?
I'm the consultant that runs the ward here at Lambeth Triage ward, so...
So, in your opinion, am I mental?
Well, what do you think would happen if you were to return home now, for instance? Do you think there might be any problem there at home with your neighbours?
No problem.
That's good to know. The last thing to say before we finish is just with your medication, we've noticed that the dose of the sodium valproate is just is on the low side at the moment. So that's what I would suggest, is maybe just staying here on the ward for the moment. Well, I think we'll try and get you to speak to the home treatment team tomorrow. I'd like to think that you'll be able to go home reasonably soon, depending upon the factors that we've discussed.
Next week, no problem, next week.
Well, we'll see.
Next week, sir.
Okay, we'll finish there. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Okay.
Love you, boy.
Take care.
I'm going home, get around this week, and plenty people up here. Hear me? Move! Don't like it. Excuse me.
Like Rupert, half the patients on the ward are here voluntarily. The other half have been sectioned, brought in against their will under the powers of the Mental Health Act.
Nice and relaxed, Gab. Nice and relaxed, buddy.
Mental Health Act means you can effectively detain people, you effectively imprison them. And that's obviously quite a power, and you have to sort of consider that quite carefully, because you're depriving somebody of liberty.
This is not prison. They'll be declared fit by psychiatrists. We're not policemen.
Here in Lambeth, the rate of serious mental illness is 3 times the national average.
Is she lashing out? Is she hitting people?
Social deprivation and drug abuse play a part, but mental illness can affect anyone.
If you speak to the chef, tell him my compliments.
My last chief, make me tell you something.
I'm not sure if I understood him correctly, but he seemed to be saying that he was going to murder me if I ever went to Tottenham. Huh?
When we first met Dominic on the ward, he seemed perfectly sane.
You stop singing.
I'm not singing. You want me to start singing? What would you like me to sing?
Anything on Christmas now.
What would I want to sing?
One Sarah, carry on.
Oh, David City,
the
cattle shed,
where in my
the later.
David was a little child.
Jesus Christ, the little child.
Correct.
When I saw my wife and 2 daughters off, unusually, I always kissed them goodbye in the morning. I actually walked, even though it was a rainy morning, to the end of the path in my dressing gown. And as I used to when they were really small, was blowing kisses at the girls, waving them goodbye. I got dressed, I went to the shop to buy the paper like I always do if I'm not working. And I don't know if it was something online or something on the radio. I really can't remember. But I can remember with great clarity, I made a decision. I'm going to kill myself today. In terms of thinking about why I'm here and the circumstances of the overdose, still in a state of some confusion. I still don't understand why I did that.
You should stay here for the moment and for tonight, and we'll have a look at things again tomorrow in terms of how you feel. Take it on a day-by-day basis, perhaps, at the moment.
That is so very beautiful.
I'm a man. I'm 50. Who's the fuck? You can't give me what I want, so let me go.
It's a bit of a crash landing in the world of mental health.
Hi Mum, I'm just writing this letter to you to apologise for my bad behaviour that I started towards you. I did not mean any of the things I said, and I know they hurt you. I hope you can realise how much you mean to me, and at times you make me want to hit you, but you are my best friend, and if I killed you, I would then have to kill myself, so that I could be a free soul. Hope you understand, love you always. Kiss, kiss. Finish.
You okay?
Yeah.
Why are you crying?
Because I'm gonna cry again. I just feel guilty about the way I've treated her, and it's not me, it's the bipolar, and she understands that.
2 days ago, Katrina threatened to kill her mum following an argument over an iPhone.
Oh, we can sing you a song, mate.
Her family admitted her to Lambeth Triage, a short-stay psychiatric ward where she's being assessed. She's still quite manic.
I had a dream that my friend's got us on the train and there's a terrorist bomb, so I don't want her to go to work this week. I believe in a greater force. I believe in reincarnation.
Right, okay.
Maybe I was a bird when I was alive before. I want to fly. It's not really going to work. We're humans.
Having your belt taken, your razor taken off you when you arrive, quite a lot of metal everywhere, locks that can only be operated by the staff and not by the inmates. It feels quite like a prison. And I can see there's a reason for that as well. There are some seriously disturbed people here. And I can't classify myself as sane, having made a violent attempt on my own life.
Dominic, a creative director of an IT company,
This one?
came onto the ward yesterday.
This one?
His wife and children found him collapsed in the kitchen after overdosing on pills and alcohol.
Yeah. Okay. This is my wife, Rachel.
Hi there. Hi there. Hi. Have you had thoughts about what you want to do at this stage?
I want to go home. I want to set about that healing process with my children and with my wife, obviously. There are things I need to tend to, matters of work, and there are some life changes that I'm keen to get started on.
You obviously know your husband better than I do.
Yeah.
Do you trust him, or do you believe what he says? I mean, do you think he's spinning us a line? Obviously, because I have a sort of duty of care, so it's my responsibility. But if I let you go and you jump on a train, that's my fault.
No, I do believe that. Yeah, I believe that he would be safe.
Assessing risk is not an exact science. Triage is a kind of halfway house.
Thank you very much.
For the patients, life is put on hold. Decisions are made for them and about them. Most want to get back to a world where they're free.
It's not the first time he's expressed suicidal thoughts. It's the first time he's ever put them into play. He has been a very up and down person. He always suffered really badly from winter depression. He always had great highs and lows.
Dominic has been married to Rachel for 20 years. They have 4 children. After suffering years of dramatic mood swings, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 2 years ago.
I'd love him to be as happy and cheerful and lively as he was when we first met. But I also accept that perhaps some of that liveliness and wildness in his character was perhaps a symptom of his condition. But you can get away with it when you're 20 and you can't when you're 45.
Thanks very much. Thanks for your help. I'll see you tomorrow night.
After weighing up the risks with colleagues,
Somebody let me out. Yeah.
Dr. Bagley has made a call on Dominic.
My judgment is that it's a fairly alien environment for him, so the better option was to allow him home. You can't spend your whole life uncertain. Sooner or later you're going to have to make a decision, and you don't always get it right. And you have to trust people. Because if you never trusted people, you'd never let them out. And we haven't got the space for them. And besides which, I mean, ultimately, people, the other, what I always say is that if you really want to kill yourself, you will kill yourself.
What are you looking forward to most then about getting home?
Hugging my children, I think. Sleeping in the same bed as my wife. Getting up in the morning, waking my children up. And all take a deep breath and hold hands and say, okay, now where were we?
The enormity of the decisions being made here was starting to become clear. Dominic would be going home in 2 days. Time would tell if Dr. Bagley had got it right. Rupert wanted his freedom too.
This is your room.
But the risk he posed was more to others than himself.
You happy with your room?
Happy with what room?
This room.
I don't live here.
No. But is it comfortable?
No.
Can I ask you, what do you think this ward provides for you?
Nothing. Nothing.
He's certainly got a history of underlying antisocial personality disorder, we think, with a history of juvenile offending and violent offending. He's been in prison previously.
Excuse me. Sir, I want the word, please.
So we're kind of on the cusp. I mean, the additional problem now is that obviously he's asking for leave and sort of asking to go home.
Right.
I suppose really what I was thinking was probably for today would be maybe for him to have a bit of leave to see how that goes on an informal basis, just for an hour or so off the ward, and to gauge how well that goes, and then maybe that might help us to decide on whether home treatment team might be suitable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we do?
Leave from the ward is down to the discretion of the doctors. It's won or lost on the basis of trust.
What are you doing?
I'm going to go shopping.
No
drugs.
Oh, obviously not.
No drugs, no alcohol, okay.
Right.
And you're not going to spend too much on
No, I've given myself a budget of £100 out of my £2 grand that I owe.
And have you got access to the £2 grand?
Yes, but I won't spend it.
You sure?
Yeah, because I regret it every time I do it.
Sure.
100%.
Okay.
If I come back with more than 10 shopping bags, I've gone over. Yeah? I swear I won't. I'm literally just buying a few bits for myself and...
How reliable are you in such circumstances?
I'm very reliable.
I'm just obviously anxious. I don't want to cause
You're going to cause me to have anxiety attack in a minute. You're being anxious.
Yes.
You're making me all hot and bothered.
Well, it's just because I have experienced people
I know, and
who spend a lot of money.
I do. For Christmas, I spent £1 grand in one day and had to get cabs everywhere because I had so much shopping. But I swear, the most I'll spend, if I do go a bit doolally, it'll be 150. It will never be more than 200.
Okay. Well, let's give it a try.
Yeah, thank you, doctor.
All right, okay.
So I can leave.
Yes, you can leave.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Right.
I'm going shopping. Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you very much.
Pardon? Phone us if there's any problems.
Yeah.
And the birds still sing outside these windows where we sat together.
Katrina's passion is the theatre. She'd just started a degree in set design when she suffered a first manic episode and had to drop out.
Seems everything around here stays like stone.
Most of her friends have since graduated.
'Cause everything will start again anew. 'Cause everything.
After 6 days on the ward, Dominic is home.
Good to be back.
Yeah, delighted to be home. It's been tough being away. You know. So it's good to be home, and it's good to know that, you know, things are going to change. So.
Hiya, I'm a nurse phoning from Lambeth Triage ward at Lambeth Hospital. We had a patient go out on leave earlier and he hasn't returned.
What's happened with Rupert?
Well, he's gone out on leave, having said that he would come back at 12 o'clock.
He was seen shortly after this in the outpatients department being quite verbally abusive.
What was he doing in the outpatients department?
I'm not entirely clear. I think he's sort of banging on the window and shouting at them, but not in a friendly way.
He may have missed medication yet, but he is very intimidating. There has been some issues with his neighbours recently. He's not in the hospital grounds. We haven't done a search, no. Guess I'll just have a quick look round. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's not here.
8 hours after he was due back, Rupert returns to the ward.
My emotions, my people, come.
For the staff, trust has been broken.
Had he come back yesterday after an hour or so and continued to be relatively polite, we could have continued that today and he could have gone out again for an hour or two. But, you know, he stayed out for 8 hours, he's been drinking, he's come back with a large wooden stick, he's been very rude and abusive to people through the night, chased one of the female patients with a plastic knife, so it's just not acceptable to behave like that.
More surprisingly, Dominic is also back. He's readmitted himself 6 days after leaving the ward.
Sort of seemed in a manic mood, and then at which point he said, "Do you think I should go back to the hospital?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think you probably should."
Manic how? How is he manic?
He was sort of saying how he was sort of wandering around singing loudly, sort of marching around, you know, purposelessly, but sort of just behaving in a weird way, shouting at the top of his voice in public. You know, not the stuff you'd expect from someone who's completely in control of themselves.
I made the decision I would readmit myself, which I think was probably an overreaction.
Dominic wants to get out, but this is his second stay on triage in a week. There's growing concern about whether he's still a suicide risk.
We put in place a sort of a leave plan with home treatment team, which obviously didn't work out as well as we'd hoped because you had to be recalled. You know.
No, I didn't have to be recalled. I said, I think I should go back. In retrospect, an overreaction. What I should have done is gone and lying down, done some meditation, make sure I wasn't alone.
Okay.
It's been a mistake, and this is still a mistake. I shouldn't be here.
We will talk to the home treatment team about this tomorrow morning, and we'll see where we can go. And as I say, I think it would be useful to have that meeting as soon as possible. Okay.
As I say, no, I don't think it's okay. But I'm in your hands.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a difficult situation, but I mean, I'm not prepared to discharge you at this point. We're going to have to use a Section 5.2 just to say that, you know, you have to stay on the ward at the moment.
I'm not trying to escape, am I?
But you're saying you don't wish to be here, so.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to escape. I'm not banging on doors.
No,
we're having a civilised conversation.
Absolutely, Dominic. But I have to be doing things from a medical legal perspective, which is correct. And you know, you're clearly saying you don't wish to be here. You've said that now over a couple of days.
I'm clearly saying I'm taking your advice as a professional.
Well, no, you haven't said.
Okay, for the record, this is a qualified medical professional whose opinion I submit to. There's nothing I can do about that. Okay? There's never been any question of me trying to escape.
Dominic, with all due respect, in this interview for the last 15 minutes, that's the first time you've said that, and you've only just said that on the back of what I just said. So you have not said that you're willing to take my advice.
I am willing to take your advice. I'm sorry, I thought that was assumed. I'm not a doctor. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
You all right? No, I'm very angry.
Do you want some water?
No, I like the taste. Thank you. What am I taking now? I don't tell them what to know any of that at this time.
No, Michael's Island.
The one I'm getting given now stopped me from being really high. Like when I first met you guys, I was really hyper. I'm still hyper, but just under control. And then they give me another sedative, and then at night time they'll give me all of that plus olanzapine, which is at 15 milligrams, which is an antipsychotic, and lamotrigine, which is bullshit that doesn't work, which I'm on 125 of. Okay? Bye.
Many of those who end up on Lambeth Triage ward have relapsed because they've stopped taking their medication.
Was ist das denn? Nein.
What's
Seid
that?
ihr wohl verrückt?
That's your risperidone.
Quatsch.
So why don't we just take that one tablet?
No is no. This is in German, nein.
Okay.
Angelica has just been admitted to the ward in a confused state.
So given this with promethazine?
Yeah.
Earlier in the week, she flew to London from Germany to meet her fiancé.
I come to London. I know he loves me and I loves him.
And why did he know you were coming to visit him? Did he know you were coming to visit him?
No, it was a surprise.
A fiancé that she's come over to England for, as far as we know and as far as we've looked into, doesn't actually exist, and it's part of her illness that she thinks that a fiancé is here waiting for her.
Where is he?
Oh, I think he's in India. He's right in the prison.
What's he doing in India?
Business.
She's been refusing her risperidone medication for some time, so what we want to do is offer her that again. We've got it here, and if she doesn't take it, I guess we need to make a plan to give her the injection. So,
when people present in crisis, very often the one thing that makes the greatest difference is medication.
is anyone going to volunteer to take an arm?
Yeah.
Do legs? Excellent. Okay.
We spend a lot of time trying to encourage people to agree to take medication, but there are times when you have to do it against their will.
So, would you be happy to take the injection, or would you take the tablets?
I not this and not this.
Okay. The thing is that we're going to have to give you one of them. So the fact that you're refusing means that we're going to have to give you the injection. Okay.
The situation is that you need some medication. You need to take something.
And I say no. No, no, no. Nein.
Angela, I need to speak to you.
Was?
I need to speak to you.
Nein, das wieder von hören, bitte.
Angelique, this is your last chance. We can't go.
Go.
Right, to shift the legs. Do it this way.
Sharp scratch.
If we didn't have medication, you'd be back to how Bedlam used to be, because there would be no effective treatment, and you'd have people having to be detained for very long periods of time against their will. And so if you like, one of the reasons we've been able to shut hundreds of thousands of beds since the 1950s is because of medication.
Let me help you.
I need a cigarette.
It's never nice to have to restrain someone, but I think that went quite well, really, because she wasn't too distressed afterwards, and it'd be very cruel to leave her just thinking that she's waiting for this
fiancé to come, and this fiancé doesn't actually exist.
What are they giving you?
And I ask the professionals. I just do what I'm told.
Dominic admitted himself onto the ward 5 days ago, but now feels it was a mistake.
Thanks.
He wants to go home. The doctors don't agree.
I had that dream about being trapped in here, indefinitely. At which point I woke up sort of gripping the blanket, sweating and shaking. And it's weird being controlled. It's all about control.
There are only 2 ways out of triage. Home, for those judged well enough, or further into the system. Having breached his leave, Rupert shows no sign of calming down.
So he didn't come back till about 7 o'clock yesterday evening. He came back with a very large stick, his stereo, some random pieces of fruit and vegetables.
What is this? What are you eating today?
Okay.
Me?
Go ahead. One minute he's absolutely horrible to you, and then the next minute he's trying to be your best friend. Very changeable.
Which market? What market do you go to?
Brixton Market.
Oh, nice.
My family went way after Brixton Market.
That's where you go shopping?
That's where I go shopping.
Every week?
What I mean?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. I kill you and kill me.
Rupert's been battling mental illness for the last 35 years.
I got my shoes.
How much?
What you got?
Oh, a few £1,000, I think.
£2,000.
A few £1,000.
What I mean?
Do you want to have a look?
His condition is worse when he uses drugs and alcohol.
I think we've got evidence now that he's still unwell, shouldn't have any further leave. I think we're going to end up probably going down the mental health act route again and probably resectioning.
I'm going home. I got home. I got teaching. I got home. Yeah.
So what do you do from here then?
When the time comes they're going to review him, we'll get a team to either go in or be outside, because when it would be likely that he's going to get quite angry when he's told that he's being put on section.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about being in hospital and what your thoughts were about staying here. And also, not just that, but also not to have leave for the next few days, because they should be on the ward. Sorry?
I'm not on section.
Well,
I can't order
only if you...
I know the law. I give me one day. I started one day.
Well, we'll come to that. If you're able to agree to this plan, then of course, but we need to get your agreement really. So that's part of the plan. You wouldn't be able to have leave over the next few days. We'd like you to stay on the ward for the next few days, okay? And if all that goes well, then of course we want you to remain informal as a voluntary patient.
Yes, exactly. This is going to touch it. Yeah, go away. Got me done.
Okay, Rupert. Did you want to ask us anything today? Anything else?
My word.
What's caught your attention, Rupert?
The
painting.
Psychiatric hospital has become a revolving door for Rupert. He knows the routine. Today he goes quietly, moving on to a longer stay ward.
Thank you.
That's your medication.
Also cool.
Be able to sign it for me.
The doctors have decided Dominic can leave too, by the front door.
Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Hope not to see you again.
Yeah.
The doctor said we're very aware that you're not happy here and you feel it's having negative impact on your state of mind. So I'm glad they picked up on that. I thought they might have missed it. On that basis, she said, you know, we are happy to discharge you. You're good to go. Thanks.
I like to know where he is, and you know, if I'm not with him, I want to make sure that he's okay and stuff. Like, I'll just always be sort of checking up on him, which maybe he finds annoying or irritating, but it's sort of for my peace of mind. I want to know that, you know, he's all right, and you know, I don't want to be thinking all the time, you know, is he okay, and constantly be worrying. But it's just sort of what's happened. Like, I can't stop myself doing it. So I'm just trying to sort of calm myself and think it's going to be all right. I need to stop having sort of, you know, assuming the worst is going to happen, because it is going to be all right.
Three weeks have now passed since Dominic returned home.
Yeah, it's my husband, that's right. Has he been taken to A&E? Thank you very much indeed. He basically tweeted a suicide note. Rosa then found the tweet, so I reported him missing.
He's overdosed a second time, after dropping his son at university. Again, it was pills and alcohol.
It's all right, he is alive. They had, you know, all search parties out for him, dogs apparently, and a helicopter and everything. And then he rang at just after 9 this morning from the phone box, in tears, in great distress. He said, "You can't love me, I'm such an awful human being." I mean, yesterday morning I felt really pleased that he'd been, you know, he'd given me a big cuddle in bed, and I thought, oh, that's the first time you've done that for months. And then now I'm thinking, maybe he was just saying goodbye. Oh dear. Oh, sorry.
A week after taking a second, larger overdose, Dominic has been moved back to triage ward.
Dominic Collier. Risks are suicidal, ongoing suicidal thoughts. This AM, he spent the whole time in his bedroom.
At midnight, actually, he was busy doing some typing on his laptop, and also at a point in time was observed crying. When staff approached him, actually, he said that he's feeling suicidal.
He knew the consequences of what he was doing. He said, "Your children will grow up without a father," and he knew that's what would happen if he did succeed in killing himself. But something didn't stop him trying to do it.
Where do you want him to be?
Right now, I want him to be in hospital. And I feel really guilty when I say that, because I know how much he hates it there. But, you know, I can't tell myself different. I know exactly what I think, and that's that the only place that he's really safe at the moment is evidently in a hospital. So.
There's clearly some part of me that is not happy being alive. You know, I think there's more going on in my mind than I'm letting myself know. You know, it feels as though there's a murderer in my head that's trying to kill me.
Though suicidal, Dominic is still able to function, get up each day and get on with life. His behaviour doesn't seem to sit with the original diagnosis of bipolar disorder. His psychiatrist has begun to reassess what might be wrong with him.
I suppose we've always had in mind some aspects of his behaviour may relate to a more sort of deep-seated problem as part of his personality development, you know, personality disorder. Personality disorder describes a condition which is long-standing, present from childhood, whereby a person's
normal personality development, i.e. behaviour, reaction to events, relationships, is abnormal. It's a problem that's more an integral part of his sort of makeup. He had a fairly damaged upbringing. He was abandoned by his biological parents. There's a pattern of impulsivity which has been present for a long time, running through the course of his development, which has been manifested through excessive use of alcohol and drugs and suicidality.
My old friend Rupert is down there. I would love to. I'd love to come and do a duet with you, man. I used to sing all my children to sleep with that when they were babies. It's one of my favourite songs. Redemption song. It's all I ever had, Lord. Redemption song.
The new diagnosis means drugs and time in hospital are no longer the best treatments for Dominic.
I don't want him out yet. Rosa? My opinion is not going to change, no matter what you say. I do not want him out yet.
Rosa, I think you've got to be able to trust him.
I can't trust him, Mummy. What if he starts acting weird again when he's out?
Well, then we'll pull the emergency cord, I can promise you. Oh, darling, come here. Go on, it's fine. It's all right.
After 3 weeks on triage, Dominic returns home.
Thank you.
Thanks.
He'll begin twice weekly therapy to try and manage his mood swings.
Hello, I'm home. How are you? Very good.
It's a massive privilege being a parent.
So pleased to see you. Hello, Zita.
Bathing in the love of my family again. So glad I'm home.
Six months on, the therapy is helping Dominic deal with his emotions, and he's trying to win back the trust of his family.
Hi, Rupert. How are you? Can we come in?
Yeah.
Rupert's back home too, after 3 months' treatment in hospital.
Is it nice being back in the area that you live in?
Yeah.
You got lots of friends here?
Some.
Well again, this was a different Rupert. 6'4", 24 stone. He was no longer the man you'd cross the street to avoid.
This is where you come to sit, is it, Rupert?
Yeah, normally, yeah. About 22 years now.
22 years?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll need to go into hospital again?
Well, you never can tell. I never can tell.
Sir Rupert.
So what have you been doing?
This is Teddy Bear Rupert.
Why'd you call him Teddy Bear?
Because he's lovely, and he's big and cuddly. Yeah, and he's kind, and love people. Yeah. Or you couldn't walk in Rupert's shoes. You'd love to walk in Rupert's shoes.
Angelica had returned to Germany. She was taking regular antipsychotic drugs, and the delusions about her fiancé had gone. Katrina's stay in hospital seemed to have worked as well. She was back living with her mum and had signed up for an arts course.
So how have you been?
Really good. Really good. Touch wood. Find some wood somewhere.
And why is that?
Because they've got the right dose of medication and the right medication that's in my system now, so it's working correctly. And it's helping with the highs and lows, so I'm not really getting them.
So how does it make you feel then, Linda?
Well, if I'm honest, I never thought I'd see the day. I thought, oh, she's always going to be suffering like this, and now she's okay. It's lovely.
So I'm glad I've been diagnosed young. I'm glad I've got the right mix of medication at a young age. So I can go back to university if I choose to, get a job if I choose to. So, yeah, it's good.
Find a cure for my life, find a cure. Find a cure for my life, find a cure. Find a cure for my life, find a cure. Find a cure for my life, oh my